Reese, if she got fined, she was talking crap to the referees. Um, like, I think she should go take the fine. I think that Stephanie White should say what she gets every time a player gets fined. If Kelsey Plum got fined for anything she said, she should come out and say what her fine is. If Caitlin gets fined, she should say what her fine is. Every player should come out. I mean this. Every single player. Every single player should be...
The situation appears quite absurd when examining the details. The circumstances surrounding this incident seem particularly unreasonable upon closer inspection. The timing of discovering this news created urgency to address the matter immediately, despite arriving late to the discussion after basketball activities. The core issue involves Sophie Cunningham's social media post that resulted in league discipline. The content featured her making commentary about referees using contemporary slang terminology, questioning their competence and decision-making abilities. The post included background music that may have involved copyright considerations.
Should be out there saying what their fines are, because at the end of the day, look, it is, for me anyway, I think the league needs to hold the referees accountable. And the players need to start holding the referees accountable. This needs to become a big issue. And I love the fact NBA Central, Sophie Cunningham reveals she's fined $500. First of all, fine $500 is absolutely hilarious, by the way. Like, that is a hilarious, hilarious number. Like...
Cunningham's transparency regarding her penalty deserves recognition. Her decision to publicly disclose the $500 fine amount sets a precedent that other athletes should follow. Players like Angel Reese, who faced criticism for referee interactions, should similarly reveal their penalties. Stephanie White and other figures should disclose fine amounts when disciplinary actions occur. Kelsey Plum, Caitlin Clark, and every other athlete should embrace this transparency approach regarding league sanctions. The philosophy behind this transparency centers on accountability within the sport.
Number. Like, obviously they can't fine anymore. She's only making $100,000, and like $500 when you're making $100,000 is a lot of money. In fairness, it is. Like, that is, depending on where you are in Indiana, that could be a month rent. Actually, I don't know about it in Indiana. It could be a month rent if you were sharing a 3-bedroom house with 5 people. I was about to say, I was like, that's definitely... This is Indiana, not...
The league must establish better oversight of officiating standards, while players need mechanisms to address referee performance issues. Creating public awareness around these matters becomes essential for systemic improvement. The $500 penalty amount presents interesting context when considering player salaries. For someone earning approximately $100,000 annually, this sum represents significant money. Depending on geographic location and living arrangements, particularly in places like Indiana, this amount could cover monthly housing expenses when sharing accommodations with multiple people. The financial impact remains substantial within the broader American economic landscape.
People. I was about to say, I was like, that's definitely... This is Indiana, not... Indiana's still in America. Still an American city, like. But yeah, it genuinely is just one of those things where I'm like, I cannot believe this is a thing that has happened. I cannot believe the WNBA are out here fining players. Actually, no, I can believe it. Because you can't just go, you shouldn't realistically just be allowed to go and insult refs.
The circumstances leading to disciplinary action raise questions about league priorities. Players facing physical contact and dangerous situations during games receive minimal protection, yet public criticism of officiating results in immediate penalties. The disconnect between these responses highlights systemic problems within the organization. Recent incidents involving referee conduct have created additional controversy. Multiple situations involving the same official have sparked debate about consistency and professionalism. One referee allegedly had physical contact with players in separate incidents, including situations with J.J. Quinterly and confrontations involving Caitlin Clark.
So refs, and in fairness, implying that a ref is slow. Like, it is 1,000,000% an extreme. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care. Like, to say the refs don't deserve this, apparently the ref that I need to look into this, so I might be wrong with this. People were literally saying that the referee that put his hands on JJ Quinnerly was the same referee that got into it with Caitlin Clark. The referee that caused the whole Neko Wumake situation.
Whether these involved identical officials or different ones, the pattern of inappropriate referee behavior remains concerning. The physical contact between referees and players represents a serious breach of professional boundaries. When officials place hands on athletes during games, the incident should generate significant attention and consequences. The lack of substantial response to such behavior while simultaneously penalizing players for verbal criticism demonstrates misplaced priorities. Cunningham's situation occurred following questionable officiating during her team's game against the Sun. She experienced being knocked out of bounds without appropriate calls, followed by receiving an elbow to the face 2 possessions later with no referee intervention.
The referee that caused the whole Neko Wumake situation is apparently the same referee that got into it with Caitlin Clark, and that Caitlin ended up chasing down the court. It's the same referee that caused the whole Neko Wumake situation and put his hands on JJ Quinnerly. But again, I don't know if it's the same referee. Either way, if it's a different referee, both of the referees were equally as wrong. We literally saw referees put their hands on a player yesterday. Why is that? How is it not a bigger deal that a referee literally put his hands on a player?
These circumstances provide context for her subsequent social media commentary. The broader discussion around referee accountability versus player expression rights continues generating debate. While players shouldn't typically insult officials publicly, the current state of officiating may justify stronger responses. The quality of referee performance has declined to levels that warrant public criticism and systematic reform. Commercial opportunities may emerge from this controversy. Companies like LASIK have shown interest in the situation through social media engagement, potentially leading to endorsement opportunities worth thousands of dollars.
Literally put his hands on a player. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. What some of these refs are doing. It is an embarrassment to the league. It's an embarrassment to sport. It's an embarrassment to everybody involved having to deal with this. You could find a random pair. There are better referees. This is my favorite. I love the fact that LASIK is just out there. And by the way,
the visibility generated by the incident could result in financial benefits exceeding the fine amount. Game quality concerns extend beyond officiating to include pace and entertainment value. Some suggest rule modifications like lowering rim heights, though the fundamental issue involves game speed and excitement rather than equipment adjustments. Teams like the Indiana Fever have demonstrated entertaining basketball when properly officiated. The current referee crisis threatens player safety and league credibility. Officials have become uncontrolled, creating dangerous situations and damaging the sport's integrity.
And by the way, as far as I'm aware, I've heard enough horror stories of LASIK, so if you're gonna fall for the advertising, do so at your own risk. I've heard a lot of horror stories. At the end of the day, glasses don't look that bad, do they? Glasses don't look that bad, do they? Maybe I'm wrong with that one. Maybe glasses do look that bad. But hot takes: players should be allowed to call out shitty reffing without fear of retaliation. Bad reffing needs to be.
While human error in officiating remains acceptable and expected, the current pattern exceeds normal mistakes and approaches negligence. Reform requires acknowledging that referees make errors while maintaining performance standards. The distinction between acceptable human mistakes and systematic failures must guide policy decisions. Current officiating problems have reached levels requiring immediate intervention for player safety and sport integrity. The situation demands comprehensive review of referee training, accountability measures, and disciplinary procedures. Player safety must take priority over protecting officials from criticism when performance standards fail.
And I'm going to be honest. I genuinely think that that Sophie Cunningham, and not that she deserves to get booed or anything. Not that she deserves to get booed. But at the end of the day, Sophie Cunningham, she's a basketball player. Basketball players get booed for whatever reason.
Basketball's future depends on addressing these fundamental officiating problems through systematic reform rather than penalizing those who highlight the issues. Sophie Cunningham delivered what could be considered her second strongest performance as a Fever player during the recent contest. Her finest showing occurred against the Lynx in a victory, which carries greater significance than exceptional individual performances in defeats. Outstanding statistics in losses hold less weight compared to equally impressive displays that contribute to team success. Prior to the game, New York Liberty supporters subjected Cunningham to sustained booing throughout the evening. Every ball touch and player introduction generated hostile crowd reactions.
For whatever reason. For whatever reason. Whether or not you think the reason is justified, it's sports. Like, we have to allow. This is the year of 2020. It is the year of 2025. We are genuinely allowing, like, we have to allow players to get booed. We have to allow fan bases to boo players. I don't care what the reason is. I don't care if you think the reason is justified. Like, Rio Ferdinand cannot set foot in Ellen Road without getting booed.
Despite this adversarial atmosphere, Cunningham responded with exceptional shooting performance, effectively silencing critics through superior play. The booing phenomenon represents standard sports culture that should remain acceptable regardless of personal opinions about specific justifications. Players face crowd hostility for various reasons, whether observers consider those reasons valid or not. This represents fundamental sports dynamics that must be preserved in 2025's athletic environment. Historical examples demonstrate this principle's universality until certain athletes cannot visit specific venues without receiving negative reactions, regardless of merit-based arguments. Sports naturally generate these emotional responses between players and fan bases.
Rio Ferdinand cannot set foot in Ellen Road without getting booed. Whether or not you think the reason is justified doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this is sports. This is sports. This is what happens in sports. Players will get booed. Do you not think DeWanna Bonner is going to get booed when she comes back to Indiana by at least a small amount of fan base? Do you think she's not going to get booed? She's going to be booed. She's clearly going to get booed. And that's just, it is what it is.
Dana Bonner will likely face similar treatment when returning to Indiana, as former players often encounter mixed receptions from previous supporters. This represents normal competitive dynamics rather than exceptional circumstances requiring intervention. Individual preferences regarding Cunningham remain irrelevant to crowd behavior policies. Supporters should maintain freedom to express approval or disapproval toward any athlete through appropriate channels. Personal attendance habits may vary. Some individuals prefer avoiding direct confrontation while others embrace active participation in crowd dynamics. Reasonable heckling falls within acceptable fan behavior boundaries.
Like, I don't get it. Like, you can like Sophie Cunningham. You can dislike Sophie Cunningham. You can like Sophie Cunningham as a person. You can dislike her as a person. You can like her as a player and dislike her as a person. You can dislike her as a player and like her as a person. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's sports. You should be allowed boo or cheer whoever the fuck you want. And again, I'm not someone who's ever done that, by the way. Like, it's just one of those things in sports where it's like, I don't really watch sport.
Booing players for any reason typically stays within these parameters, contributing to competitive atmosphere and fan engagement rather than crossing harmful lines. Cunningham's shooting performance validated her resilience under pressure, connecting on 5 of 7 three-point attempts at one stage. The hostile environment appeared to enhance rather than diminish her competitive focus, suggesting psychological advantages from adversarial conditions. Throughout her career, Cunningham has never achieved widespread popularity among general WNBA audiences. However, teammate relationships remain consistently positive, indicating her value within team environments despite external perceptions. Her apparent indifference to social media criticism or fan disapproval demonstrates professional maturity.
We watch sport, like, I'm all for hate watching, but like, I'm not going to go to a game and boo a player, especially a player on my team or even a player on an opposing team, because I'm like, that's just not something that I would do. But I don't have an issue if someone does it. Someone should be allowed to do that. Like, as long as it's within reason. Heckling should be allowed within reason, and booing a player for whatever reason they want is within reason. Like, it's not going to be, like, there are levels of heckling that are
Court priorities center on winning, team success, and organizational loyalty. Previous Mercury affiliation generated similar dedication to that franchise and fan base. Consistency and team-first attitudes transcends individual roster moves. Last season's incidents, including a blind elbow thrown during a fever huddle, illustrate Cunningham's aggressive playing style regardless of potential targets. The action could have affected any nearby player, including Caitlin Clark demonstrating indiscriminate competitive intensity rather than personal targeting. Career-long criticism has shaped Cunningham's approach to external pressure.
There are levels of heckling that are overall good for the game, and fans acting like fans. And I don't care. I don't care if you think the reason for it is bullshit. Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? She hooped. She absolutely hooped. Like, she hit 5 of 7 threes. Or maybe she was 5 of 8 in the end. She was 5 of 7 at one stage. So, if you are looking at it, it clearly, whatever the...
Her deliberate psychological tactics aim to disrupt opponents and opposing crowds through mental warfare strategies. These mind games represent legitimate basketball elements that benefit certain player types while destroying others. Cunningham clearly thrives under psychological pressure, welcoming trash talk and hostile environments. Big game performances consistently showcase her comfort level during high-stakes situations against elite competition. Experience in challenging atmospheres provides advantages when teammates face similar pressures.
You are looking at it, it clearly, whatever the boos clearly helped her play better. Like, let's be the heel. Let's be real. Sophie Cunningham's never been liked by the general WNBA population. Sophie Cunningham has been liked by her teammates. She has never been liked by the general WNBA fan base. She never will be. I don't think she cares that much about that. I really don't think she cares that much about Little Timmy on Twitter or Mick Talks Hoops or whatever the hell the opposite version of me is.
Enforcement roles, whether official or unofficial, create strategic benefits through opponent distraction. When rivals like Alyssa Thomas seek confrontation targets, directing hostility toward Cunningham rather than superstars like Clark protects more valuable assets while utilizing her psychological resilience. Team benefits emerge when opposing fan hatred concentrates on single players capable of handling such pressure. Cunningham's career-long experience with negative attention provides immunity to crowd hostility that might affect less experienced teammates. Diana Taurasi's mentorship significantly influenced Cunningham's development, with both players sharing similar competitive mentalities and psychological approaches.
Whatever the hell the opposite version of me is, she doesn't care. She doesn't care how much, Number 5, Angel Reese the GOAT, cares on Twitter. She does not care about what Liberty fans think about her. It's clear that when she steps foot on the floor, she cares about 2 things. She cares about winning. She cares about her team. And that's pretty much it. And she cares about the Fever. She cares about her fans. She cares about the Fever fans.
Taurasi's legendary career included numerous controversial moments